Hello and welcome to this morning's Liverpool News Roundup here on Anfield Agenda. My name is Conor. I'm going to take you through all of the latest Liverpool news ahead of the Crystal Palace game tonight in the Carabao Cup. We've got some quotes from Arne Slot ahead of the game, a few words from Federico Chiesa. We have some links with Yankuba Minteh of Brighton, who could be seen as Liverpool's Mo Salah successor long term. We do also have some news this morning around Marc Guehi and some of the reasons as to why Liverpool ended up missing out on him in the summer. So before we get into all that, please do hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Craig will be live this evening from 6:30 for our watch along of Liverpool versus Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup. Please do leave your score predictions in the comments below for that, and do join us at 6:30. So let's jump straight into the news. We'll start off then with Arne Slot, who was speaking ahead of tonight's game. There was no press conference for this game. Apparently he didn't really fancy doing one, wanted to really focus on getting Liverpool back on track. And look, I'm not complaining about that. I think the more focus we can put on getting back to what we know we can do, the better. So, no complaints around that one. But here's what he did have to say. Tonight's fixture gives us an opportunity to take a step forward, not just in this competition, but also in our season as a whole. That it comes against an opponent that continues to prove itself to be very strong means this will be a testing cup tie. But again, this is the kind of challenge that we have to embrace. It goes without saying that our recent form has not reached the standards that you expect of us or that we expect of ourselves. This is, of course, a major disappointment, especially given the positive start we made to the season. From our perspective, there are no excuses. Yes, we are aware of the reasons and we will discuss them, but the one thing we cannot and will not do is use them as an excuse. Our responsibility is to recognise what is happening and put things right. There is no other option. Finally, we also know that the recent period has been very difficult for our supporters, especially those who have travelled to places like Brentford, Chelsea, and Palace, only for their backing to go unrewarded. Repaying this kind of support is one of the things that motivates us most, but as you will know better than anyone, this is a time when you can help make a difference. The more that you can support the players by pushing them on, the better, especially in moments when it is difficult for us. Liverpool is a special club in this regard, as there have been so many occasions when the fans have responded when we have had our backs to the wall, and this can only ever help the team. So yeah, pretty much as you would expect from Arne Slot there speaking ahead of tonight's game. Like, he really does just need to get a result tonight. I think we probably will see a much weakened squad or a much rotated squad. I know Freddie Woodman is set to start. There's talk of Calvin Ramsey starting at right back, and I've been very, very intrigued to see how he goes with this one, because we do really need a win just to get back on track. But then it's the kind of thing like, do we just sacrifice the Carabao Cup to put all our focus back on the Premier League and getting back into maybe not even a title fight, but at least solidifying ourselves in the top 2 or 3 in the table? So I go back and forth on this one. I don't think I'll be absolutely heartbroken if we go out tonight, but another loss just wouldn't look good. It wouldn't be good for the mentality or anything that way. I wouldn't go risking like our full team, but I would like to see a few of the starters play and just try to get a result, because we just need some positivity around the club at the minute, because it's just been so many losses, so much negativity, and I think a win tonight would just again put us back on a slightly more positive path. It would give us a win against Crystal Palace, who've already beaten us twice this season in the Community Shield and the Premier League. So it's one of those ones now where it's not the end of the world if we lose, but then again, like I said, it would be very nice just to get a bit of positivity back around the club if we can get through tonight. Some quotes then from Federico Chiesa ahead of tonight's game. So he was speaking about Crystal Palace and he had this to say. If Crystal Palace wants to play long ball and long throw-ins, they are more than welcome to do so, because we're going to answer them with high intensity and winning duels and trying to win. I don't know if you say this in English, but in Italy we say winning brings winning. So we want to win tomorrow, that's it. And it's something we've said on this channel a lot, and I know Craig has definitely highlighted the end to last season where we just really took our foot off the gas and lost however many games from March onwards once the league was wrapped up. Like, winning does breed winning. Like, it is a habit, and if you do drop off, it's very hard to get back up to that level again. And I think it's part of the reason why we're struggling this season. It's just we're still trying to build our form back up to where it was during last season. Like, we've took that big drop off and we just haven't really fully bounced back yet. It's not the sole reason, obviously. Like, we've had a huge amount of changes to the squad. We've had the loss of Diogo Jota, obviously, that has to be spoken about. But it, again, just the mentality and getting back to that. Like Federico said here himself, winning brings winning. It's the kind of thing, like, it is a habit. Once you get into the habit of winning, you stay winning. When you get into the habit of not winning, you also stay not winning. So we do need to just push on, get back to good habits, get back to our top form, and like Federico said here, winning brings winning, and it really does. Speaking about his own form then and his own playing time, Federico had this to say: "Last year I wasn't fit enough, I wasn't mentally ready, and I didn't play. I was totally okay with it because I wasn't up to speed with the other lads. This year, as soon as we started, I felt better physically and mentally. I have played more and I still need to play more to reach the level required," which is a very interesting insight there from Federico, because a lot of us wondered, like last year, did Arne Slot just not give him a chance? Was he a signing made by the board rather than the manager? Was he making a stand just to say, I'm not playing this lad because I didn't want him? But it does seem like Federico just wasn't at the fitness level, and he seems to be okay with the fact that he wasn't played a huge amount last year. And even this year, like, all of us have been calling for him to get more minutes and to starting more games. But if he is still building up his fitness, then I suppose it makes sense to manage his minutes better and not really overwork him. So hopefully, like, over the next few months, if he can stop getting any injuries, if he can really build up his fitness to 100%, we may see Federico Chiesa at his peak again, like how good he was a couple of years ago. Like, this is a player, people forget, like, we did sign him for what, 10 or 12 million pounds, but he is a player that we were linked with a couple of years ago for 80, 90, 100 million pounds. Like, he was that good. And if he can get anywhere near that again, then we are absolutely flying. So if he can get his fitness levels back up, get back to top form, and be able to play more minutes, then happy days, because that is going to be brilliant. And I do hope that the manager gives him the chance he deserves. Again, managing his minutes so he doesn't overwork himself as he's still building up the fitness, as he has spoken about himself. But we do need to get him on the pitch more, because he's been one of our best players this season and he deserves a chance. And let's hope he does get it, because I love Federico. Everyone loves Federico, in fairness. So yeah, let's hope he gets more minutes as the season goes on. Next up then, we do have some links with Brighton's Yankuba Minteh, who is a right winger with a left foot. So he could be the Mo Salah successor, like, if this is a genuine link. And I'm slightly dubious over it because of the sources and where it's coming from, but you'd never know. So we do have a report here that says Liverpool FC could be set to make one of the most exciting signings of the decade. Don't know if I go that far now for Yankuba Minteh, good player, but I don't know if it's one of the most exciting signings of the decade. But as multiple sources from both the Gambia and England have exclusively confirmed to Footy Africa the club's growing interest in Yankuba Minteh, the 21-year-old Gambian winger has been dubbed the next big thing in African football and is now firmly on Liverpool's radar following his electric start to the 25-26 Premier League season. Reports suggest that Liverpool are prepared to pay, wait for it, over £100 million, including signing bonuses, to secure Minteh's services. Now, I can't admit to watching a huge amount of Brighton or the Gambian national team, but £100 million? I don't think we're quite talking those levels for Minteh just yet. Like, you look at his stats, like 9 games so far this season in the Premier League, he's got 1 goal and 2 assists. Last season he played 32 games, 6 goals, 4 assists. And even if you look back to his time at Feyenoord, which of course he would have played under Arne Slot, which I suppose is part of the reason why we're being linked with the player, he had 10 goals and 3 assists in 27 games in the Eredivisie. So, again, £100 million. That seems a stretch, but who knows? Like, in this market, with the way Liverpool have been willing to spend as well, and not doubting we would spend the money if we thought he was worth it, but is he really worth £100 million? Maybe I'm completely wrong on this, but that just seems absolute insanity. But anyway, the report does go on to say a fee that would place him among the club's most expensive acquisitions ever. The move would also mark a significant statement of intent as Liverpool look to refresh their attacking lineup and plan for life beyond Mohamed Salah. So again, it would make sense. Like I said, he's predominantly a right winger with a left foot, which would be the same profile as a Mo Salah. He can play across the front line, of course, which is another bonus. Arne Slot loves a versatile winger, as we know he loves a versatile forward. So look, maybe it would make sense, but I think that £100 million, that just seems insanity to me. Like, I know we're in a crazy market and all, but I wouldn't be going spending £100 million on him, in all honesty. No problem with it being linked with the player. Very good player from what I've seen. Seems to be decent with the pressing. Seems to track back a decent bit too, from what I've seen from Brighton fans speaking about him as well. And I just don't know, £100 million just seems a bit crazy, but I'm no expert on him, so please do let me know. Do you think he's worth £100 million? Would you even want him at Liverpool? Like, I'm very much of the opinion, I'm not an expert on this, so like, if Richard Hughes, Michael Edwards, Arne Slot picks out a player like this and says, yes, he is worth X, Y, or Z amount of money, then look, I will trust the decision ultimately, but it does seem a bit crazy to me to be spending £100 million on him. To finish up then, we do have some reports around Marc Guehi and some of the reasons why Liverpool did not sign him in the summer. So this comes from Greg Evans of The Athletic, who said, conversations with Crystal Palace over Marc Guehi, did not start until after the Community Shield on the 10th of August. With no rival in the race and Liverpool not prepared to pay over the odds, the feeling at Anfield was that they had played a cute strategic game. Delaying a move until the end of the window gave them the best chance possible to secure him at the best possible price. And that continues on with, if Liverpool had met Crystal Palace's £45 million valuation of Marc Guehi at the start of the transfer window, the defender would have moved to Anfield immediately given his enthusiasm to join. This pretty much confirms what we were all thinking. Like, did we just leave it a little bit late, looking for the best possible price? And it does seem like we did. And to be fair, it almost worked out. Like, we almost played an absolute blinder there. We had the deal agreed for £35 million, would have saved us £10 million, and we thought we had the player up until Crystal Palace pulled the rug out from under it at the last minute due to not being able to find a replacement, which is out of our control. It feels harsh to criticise the club for the strategy because it was 99% of the way there. Like, they had the player doing his medical. Like, it was done and it just fell apart at the very last second. So it's harsh to criticise, but then again, if we just paid an extra 5 or 10 million, could we have had him back in June or July? He could have had a full pre-season with us. We would have him now, and we wouldn't be looking at a centre-back crisis in January, and we wouldn't be looking at the possibility of Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Barcelona, or whoever he wants to come in and take Marc Guehi next summer. So again, I find it harsh to criticise given the fact that it was 99% of the way there, and we seem to have been saving ourselves a decent chunk of money there as well, in fairness. So it probably does confirm a lot of what we were thinking, to be fair. Like I said, we were thinking, like, was it just purely a strategic thing to get a cheaper price? And it looked like it was, to be fair. So let me know what you think on that one. That's all from me this morning anyway. Like I said, Craig will be live from 6:30 p.m. this evening for Liverpool versus Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup, in what is going to be very interesting to see, like, what we do go with. Do we get a result? How serious are we taking this competition now that our season seems to be unravelling? So please do join us for that one, 6:30 p.m. Set your clocks, hit the notification button, all that. Just be there because you don't want to miss this one, because it's going to be a very interesting game, and I'm sure some very interesting reactions from Craig as well. So please do hit the subscribe button before you head out. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, and thank you very much for watching. I'll see you very soon.